Hey guys, good morning. I want to talk about CMEs today. Do not underestimate CMEs, okay? And I'm going to give you a bunch of reasons why. First, I want to show you my coffee that I drink. This is a Folgers type coffee. It's from 1850. And this, the Trailblazer, is one of like 6 different kinds. It's pretty good stuff. It's fun. So I put something together last night, a basic rundown of what occurred when they shut down the observatory in New Mexico and what I think the message is and what it should be. Pardon me. Now listen, I did a lot of work here, so I did it for you. I did it for all of us here, okay? I'm going to show you what I wrote here. Okay? I don't know if you can see that. You probably can't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read everything off, and I'm going to explain it to you. So on the 6th of September, the feds, they shut down the observatory in New Mexico. Everybody knows about it. Because of the way they did it, leaving us in the dark and whatnot, it became a news flash. Now, it's interesting because while this was happening, things were happening in the background that none of us knew about. And I'll tell you right now, I know because I have connections and I'm very connected on Facebook, and I'm connected with all these people. And I was connected to them before this BS started happening. And it's really interesting what they're doing to protect us against the CME. And this is precisely my point, is that if it wasn't something that we should be worried about, they wouldn't invest the time and the money into preventing a disaster from happening from CME. Okay, so now let's get back on track here. On September 6th, the observatory was locked down. Okay? Need that. Then, there's nothing. No answers. Nobody's telling us anything. So what are we supposed to assume here? You know, if there was an X flare coming, a Carrington type flare coming our way, and it was too late, do you really think that they would tell people about it? I don't think they would, because they don't want panic and chaos to ensue. So that was the big concern, and that's why people were making so much noise about it. All right. So you have from 9/6 to 9/19. Sorry. We were left in the dark. Why did they close it down? What's going on? Leaving us up to our own devices, our own tool sets to figure out what's happening here. That's concerning. So finally they come out and they tell us a bunch of BS. They're telling us different stories and everything, security threat, and something about pornography and everything else. Under a terror attack or something, Chinese spies, what? They're not clear. Well, I'm following this, and here after all this time that they leave us in the dark, and right before their opening, they released something here. On, I don't know the date that they released it, but on 9/7, on the 7th, the day after they closed the observatory, they launched this missile. It's a FOXSI missile. Okay, look it up. FOXSI. And what this missile does is it launches from the White Sands, which I've been to. I don't know if you guys have been there, but if you're anywhere in the area, you should definitely check it out. It's really cool over there. The sand's literally white like snow. It's really cool. And people dive. That was the other thing. Somebody died on one of the trails or something. They're trying to you know, say it was because of that. But yeah, if you're gonna go on those trails up, you know, in New Mexico, you better bring a lot of water, and you better know what you're doing, because you're in the middle of no man's land out there. Anyway, this missile, what it does is it launches up, and it takes about 5 minutes, maybe less, unless they were speeding up the film. But the film, it's like maybe 5 minutes long, if that. And they launch it, and they put it into orbit. And the only mission of this thing is to focus an X-ray camera on the sun, take pictures of the sun, and then the missile drops back down to the Earth, where they collect the data and they process it and everything else. So that happened, and they weren't telling us that. They didn't tell us that until they were right about to open the observatory again. Now, what I mean by telling us is I didn't get any information. I didn't get any information about this until after the story was old news, you know. So that's what was happening behind the scenes. Maybe that's why they closed it. There's some kind of training mission or something, you know. Get the word out. You know, I don't want to go into any conspiracy or anything, but I know the government, and I know how they operate, and I know how they like to communicate. And to me, that's a communication. That's a message that they're trying to send out. You know, they're trying to get people, you know, subconsciously aware of this potential threat. Now, here's the thing. It is a threat, because the Carrington event happened in 1859, okay? And that was over 150 years ago. And they're saying these type of events, they're 150-year events. So every 150 years, expect it. So we're overdue, is what they're saying. We're overdue. And, you know, again, that's why I'm saying you can't underestimate these things. You have to be ready for them. You know, that Carrington event, that it was a flare. It cleared the way for another flare. So the first flare took a couple days to get here, and then another one came in right behind it, because it cleared the way for it. The first one, it got here in less than 24 hours. I think they're saying 17 hours, and it hit us. Do you think that's enough time to shut down the power grid and shut down nuclear power plants and everything else like that? It's pushing it, you know. And even if we are able to see these things, and we are able to prepare ourselves for them, that's a big task. You know, you're talking about shutting down the whole grid. You're talking about, you know, you only have 3 days to do it. And how are you supposed to get all this done and get the people prepared for this and everything, you know? It's like, you know, it's not easy. It's not like flipping a switch. So anyway, back to the observatory. They opened back up, and then they put out this other message about how they're going to be partnering with the NMSU to support the Parker Solar Satellite. Now, this satellite launched on August 7th, and what this one's doing is it's going right to the sun. It's going through the outer corona, and it's going to set up an orbit 4 million miles from the sun, where it's going to do studies of the flares, the solar wind, and the magnetic fields. And what they're hoping is that they get enough information from this where they can better predict these storms. They already have a couple other satellites up there, but apparently it's not enough, you know. And this FOXSI missile and everything else. So they're really putting an effort into this to try and understand it, so that they can give us enough of a warning ahead of time of a Carrington type event. You know, got to keep your standards high, because we don't know enough about this stuff. We really don't. There could be something 10 times as worse that happens, you know, every 100 years. We don't know. We don't have this kind of information. So it's good to know they're doing something to help prevent this cataclysmic type event from happening. So Parker's still on its way. I think it's got like another month or so until it gets there. But what it does is it orbits the sun, and then it goes back to Venus, and it orbits Venus, and Venus slingshots it back to the sun. It does, and it goes around the sun, and goes back to Venus. And it does this like 4 or 5 times. And then I don't know what happens, if they just let it go into the sun or what. But yeah, I'm watching that one too. And incidentally, I have my name. They put my name on a memory card, so my name's out there. It's on its way. So God willing, hopefully it makes it. It gets through the outer corona, which I think I wasn't able to find it, but I read it somewhere. I know it did. It has to go through like 1,000,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures in order to get to this lower corona, which is only 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit. But think about it, you know, that's pretty intense. So don't underestimate them. Do not underestimate them. Think about it. Alright. That's it for today. I really want to do something on nuclear weapons, but that's a lot of research, you know. I could just do a real short one. I could just show you. Just look at the doomsday clock. We're closer to midnight than we've been in a long time. So do not underestimate this stuff. Don't do it. Be ready. You gotta be ready. You really have to be ready. If you're gonna survive, you're gonna make it. You're gonna be ready. Alright. I'm out.